monster out of me. They put a shot in my back. They get me to the count of 3. They set the hounds on my tracks. They made a demon out of me. Then they put a cross to my face. They put a circus out for me. 'Cause I got some blood on my hands. But they would see me when I'm coming. I'll be laughing while you're running. Oh, you won't see me when I'm coming. I'll be the monster you've been wanting. Oh, no. Story out of me. They laugh and joke about my name. They put a bounty out of me. They're all excited by my shame. But they would see me when I'm coming. I'll be laughing while you're running. Oh, you won't see me when I'm coming. I'll be the monster you've been wanting.
Remember when you wanted to forget?
Alright guys, it's Chatterbox Reviews coming at you with Let's Talk Television. We are back here. I know it's been a long time. It's been a long time. The last episode I believe was Tuesday of last week. And so as you can see is the background here. I have changed setups and changed a lot of stuff with you know, just kind of the way I've been recording these videos. And in the last week I've gone through a lot of changes. So I have this green screen behind me here. I haven't quite got it working yet. So that's the main thing. But anyways, let's get into this. So for this episode, we're going to be talking about Ozark and Breaking Bad. I'm going to share my thoughts on why people keep comparing them and why, in my opinion, I think why Ozark will never compare to Breaking Bad and why the two should not be compared. So we'll talk a lot about that. Then we'll get into a little bit of news in terms of Mr. Robot ending after the 4th season that was announced. And then we'll also get into a little bit outdated now, but the Sharp Objects finale, you know, a little bit about that. And will it stay a limited series after the success that we know it now got in that finale episode? So anyways, and then of course I'll share my weekly notables with my notable performance and notable episode from this week in television, along with a Q&A segment at the end. So if you have any questions or comments anytime during the show, leave them in the chat and I will get to them at the end of the episode. All right, so let's get into it. So I hope everything is looking good. So yeah, of course, as you can kind of tell, if you've seen, you know, other episodes of this show or any other videos on the channel, you know that this is a huge change to my background. It's also a little bit different the way it looks too. On camera. So I hope it looks pretty good. You know, it's a little bit brighter now. And so hopefully that'll, you know, help a little bit. Maybe the quality will be better. So I'm not sure. But anyways, you know, I appreciate those of you who are tuning in live right now. And also those of you who are tuning in afterwards. Really do appreciate it as always. So yeah, so we are, you know, I am in the midst of a couple of changes here, of course. This background, you know, ultimately I'm trying to make it a green screen. You know, I'm trying to get it a working green screen, but as of now, I just haven't been able to do that, and especially in the time that I've had, you know, I just haven't had enough time to kind of work with it. if you guys have any tips on, if you use a green screen or something like that, and you know how to, how to operate it, correctly, maybe share those with me. Any help is much appreciated with that stuff. But anyways, hopefully by next episode I'll have it working. But for now, you're just gonna have to imagine, but overall, it's not bad. It's not too bad. But anyway, so hopefully in the future I'll get that working, but for now it is what it is. So new setup, kind of going through some changes here, and yeah, so I also do apologize. This is supposed to be a Saturday show, and we're here on Thursday. We're almost at the next week, so I have decided what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to do the next episode to end this season off on Monday, and then actually I won't even have... Will I have a week off? I'm not sure if it's supposed to be a week in between seasons, but I'm not sure if I'll have a week quite yet, right? Because it'll probably be about 6 days. So anyways, we'll have to see where that goes. But season 3 will be coming out. So this episode, next episode, and then a week, and then season 3. So we're about 2 weeks away from that. But anyways, this one I'm just really interested in because Ozark dropped on Netflix on, what day was it here? Was it last Friday already? I think it was last Friday. That Ozark dropped on Netflix, and of course that stirred up everyone, talking about Ozark, and again, those comparisons with Breaking Bad started to be risen as well with people. So I just really want to talk about this topic here and talk, comparing the two, why they shouldn't be compared, why people might compare the two, right? And so I just thought it'd be a really, nice, kind of discussion to have. And I will just say it, up front, Breaking Bad is my favorite show ever, right? It's my favorite show of all time. So there might be a little bit of bias here, in a sense. But for sure, I do enjoy Ozark a lot too, though. I'm almost done the second season now. I think I'm about 7 or 8 episodes in. To the season, so I'm making my way through that. I go a little bit slower than most people, maybe, binge watching, but yeah, so I'm about 7 or 8 episodes into that, and I really enjoyed season 1, and season 2 is pretty good. I mean, it's pretty damn good. So anyways, so let's get into it. So why Ozark will never compare to Breaking Bad. That's kind of the topic, or the kind of main argument point for this episode of Let's Talk Television. So also I put a little bit more work into the thumbnail. I'm looking to do that more as we go with this series, especially for season 3. I have some really good ideas to kind of brighten it up and make it, look a little bit more elaborate, if you know what I mean. So yeah, that's the kind of approach I'm taking. But anyways, so many people began to compare Ozark to Breaking Bad since season 1 was released. So season 1 of Ozark was released, and at that time, a lot of people were like, okay, here comes another Breaking Bad, right? And that's also the way that Netflix marketed it too. So I don't fault anyone, fans, kind of making that comparison, because that's kind of the way Netflix and the show Ozark wanted it to be, right? And of course, if you can be in the same conversation as Breaking Bad, that's pretty good. That's pretty good buzz about a show if you're in the same conversation as Breaking Bad. And so a lot of people, or many people have began to compare the two, right? But I believe the two will never compare, and that they should not be compared. And so I'm going, I'll go through some points here. Of course, if you have any comments on this, join the discussion. Leave some in the live chat if you're watching afterwards. Comment down below. I'd love to discuss this with you. And of course, I like to kind of, take both sides of it a little bit. This one's going to be a little bit more one-sided typically than some of my other ones, I think. And yeah, but I totally understand the other side of this stuff too. That's definitely understood. But anyways, so the first point here is why I think that they shouldn't compare, or why Ozark in particular will never compare to Breaking Bad in particular. So Ozark is a story, and this is where a lot of people do the comparison, and I think this is where people get the comparison wrong. People, some people have said, oh, well, it's at the core of both shows, it's kind of the same story about this man, going through this whole thing. But I couldn't disagree more with that, because I think Ozark is a story centered, and I had this conversation with a couple of my friends too. and we kind of agreed on this. So it's a story centered around a good man at heart. A good man, obviously he's doing bad things, but a good man at heart who is kind of wrapped up in bad things, right? So that's what Ozark is, to me at least. And Breaking Bad is a story centered around a good man turned bad. But then, you can also make the argument that Walter was bad to begin with, right? He was bad from the start, because how could he have just magically developed this personality, right? That's how, that's who he truly was, at the bottom of a high school teacher, making, kind of minimum wage, or obviously not minimum wage, but average salary, average man, right? And now is the personality kind of hidden below the surface. And so anyways, in that sense, I think they're totally different, right? Because I would argue that Marty from Ozark, yes, he is kind of a bad guy, because he's wrapped up in this cartel, and it's not like he was really forced into it either. He ultimately made that decision himself to help launder their money, right? And I think in the flashbacks that we saw in season 1, Dale was a little bit forceful. But I think ultimately, if Marty really didn't want to do it, he could have said so. I just feel like it wasn't 100% they were forcing him to do it, right? So then you could argue, okay, well, he chose to launder money for the cartel, so that makes him, a bad guy. But I don't think so, because especially in this recent season and the end of season 1, he is always talking about kind of getting out of it, right? He doesn't want to keep laundering money for the cartel and helping them. He wants his family to be safe again, right? He doesn't want to be involved in this business, but he's kind of found himself wrapped up in it now, and he really has no way out, right? And so... And now in season 2, spoilers, of course, but now they want to build this casino, right? So he's, his whole plan is build a casino, and then him and the family kind of run away, right, to never be seen again. So that's his plan. Now, if you look at Breaking Bad, the other side of this, Walter, he just wants to keep going and going and going. He doesn't want to get out of the game. He doesn't want to get out of the business. He wants to keep getting higher and higher and higher. So right there, right, that parallel, definitely different storylines just with those main characters. Now, again, Marty and Walter, again, just two totally different characters. Walter, by the end of the show, now, we can't totally compare these two shows. That is something I forgot to mention, because Ozark is only 2 seasons in. Breaking Bad had 5 seasons with, I believe, 60-something episodes. I think 63 episodes or something like that. And Ozark's only at 20. So, again, a little bit there, but you can look at the fundamentals of both shows, of course. And so anyways, but at the end of Breaking Bad, Walter is ruthless, right? And he kills multiple people in the series, right? Him, I think the first time was, him with the car when he ran over those 2 guys on the corner, that killed, the little kid, actually. Jesse's, girlfriend's kid, right? Brock, or not Brock, sorry, his brother. Was it his brother that they killed or something? I don't know. The kid on the bike, maybe it was her nephew or something like that. Anyways, I haven't seen that for a few months, that's for sure. Anyway, so he kills multiple people. Marty, whenever he sees someone, that gets killed, he ultimately, he right away feels sorry for them, and, he just is not okay with that at all. And so that's, again, just the total difference between these two characters. Now, maybe you could compare season 1 Walter to season 1 Marty, right? Maybe you could make that comparison, but I think by the end of it, Marty is not going to turn into a ruthless killer like Walter is, and right there, there's that difference, right? So you can't really compare the two stories off what they are centered around in that main character, that main story. Ozark is a show that constantly plays on its setting, right? That is the name of the show, is the setting of the series. And Breaking Bad is a show that could happen in other places, right? So I feel like Breaking Bad, it happens in Albuquerque, New Mexico, right? Kind of a small town, kind of feel to that show as well. And they play on it, right? The difference between Breaking Bad is they play on that setting that they have set, right? They play on it. They do some, quirky things with it, that because it's based in Albuquerque, they're not going to do some things like that could happen in New York, for example, right? But Ozark, it does more than just play, it does more than just kind of, writing in quirky things. The show is about Ozark. Like, Ozark, the series, could not happen anywhere else, right? And not just because of the name. It's just everything that goes on there and everything that they've kind of made up. I don't think it could really happen anywhere else than Ozark, like the Ozarks in Missouri there, or maybe another small town in that area. Now, Breaking Bad, it could happen in a lot of places, right? Okay, you just take out some of those, scenes in the desert, let's say, right? It could happen in other places. So that's where I think, again, there's a little bit of a difference between the two shows. So, and of course, Ozark, with the setting being its name, right? I mean, they just keep driving home the point. The whole way that the show is filmed, it's kind of in this green, bluish color, right? And I really enjoy that. The cinematography is great for Ozark. Don't get me started. It's awesome. But again, they're playing on that setting. They're showing us everything in those kind of green, blue shades of color, right? And Breaking Bad didn't do that, right? It didn't have, yellow, color the whole way through, right? It was, normal. So again, that's where they play on that setting, and that's where they really, differ in that regard. I also think that Ozark, and this one is maybe something that you definitely could argue, but in my opinion, I think Ozark is a lot more unrealistic than Breaking Bad ever was. So why I say that is because Ozark, I don't know, especially with the second season, I just feel like Marty being the only, well, I don't even know that he's the only one, but he's definitely a significant guy who launders money for them. He's a significant money launderer for this cartel. And the fact that they let him move to the Ozarks to launder this money, and that they trust him for this long, and that he's safe and secure until this second season where everything kind of falls apart a little bit on him, that's just unrealistic. I'm sorry, but, and again, even then, like, why would the cartel even go to him in the first place in Chicago and go to that firm and get him to start laundering their money, right? So it just seems, a little bit off sometimes, and a little bit, the way that events go down, not just looking at the story, but just the events of the show. Again, just kind of more unrealistic terms, right? I just feel like it's, and again, in season 1, I think I said this in my quick thoughts video for Ozark season 2 premiere. It's on the channel. The last video, you can check it out. But in that video, I said season 1 never really, the stakes and all that stuff, it never really seemed real. But in this season, the second season, they've actually done a better job at that and kind of shown us what is really, the danger here with this cartel, right? And so that's where I feel like it's a little bit more unrealistic, because Breaking Bad, I mean, Walt did one thing and it screwed up everything. You know what I mean? Like, it had a huge domino effect, and they showed us what the consequences are for those decisions. We saw brutal deaths, right, resulting. We never saw really a death out of nowhere, and that's pretty much what Ozark, the season 1 finale, was based on, is this death out of nowhere. I mean, how realistic is it that the Snells kill a high-ranking cartel kind of leader guy in their house just like that? And why is this guy only traveling with one guard, and why does this one guard not recognize, the Snell's taking out the shotgun and shooting at Michelle? Again, just a really unrealistic thing there. And Breaking Bad, I mean, it was totally realistic. Now, not saying everything, but most things about it, and even the way that Walter even came to power, you might argue, well, how does a, high school teacher turn into a huge drug kingpin by the end of the show? But if you look at all the events that led up to that, it actually is realistic. I mean, everything that he went through, he started just small time with Jesse and then went up to Tuco. So he moved up and up and up. And then when he met Gus, things kind of really started to broaden out, right? And that's where he kind of got that power. So you just see it's a little bit more realistic in that sense, for sure. And then this one's a little bit more just a kind of an obvious difference, but Ozark, the family knows, obviously, right? So the wife knows, and now both of the kids know as of the end of season 1, I believe. And the Breaking Bad family, that was a huge part of the story. Walter being secret from the family. Of course, Skyler does find out, and Walter Jr. only finds out, I think in the, episode 14, Ozymandias, or episode 13 of season 5. So within the last 3 episodes of the show, Walter Jr., his son, finds out. Of course, the daughter, she's a baby, so she obviously wouldn't know. But yeah, and Skyler only knows, I think, midway through season 2, she finds out, or something like that. Maybe the end of season 2. I could be wrong, but somewhere around there. And Skylar not knowing, I mean, that was literally a huge focus of the show in the first 2 seasons, or at least the first season and a half, right? That was a huge part of the story. And in Ozark, we already start with Wendy, the wife, knowing about it and being a part of it. And Skylar does become a part of it too, but she's mostly a part of it because of fear of her husband and what could happen and what he could do to her, right? Wendy is kind of just an accomplice. I mean, she is just actually into it, and I think she's genuinely interested in doing it with Marty. So there's a big of a difference there. And I don't know. I just don't know how I feel about the kids knowing in Ozark. I can handle the wife knowing, with Wendy knowing and kind of being an accomplice. But now with the kids knowing, it just seems, again, unrealistic. And the way that the kids kind of react to it. We did see Jonah a little bit in season 1 react to it and looking up, like, cartel videos and kind of being scared. But other than that, I mean, these kids are, like, not scared at all. And they just we kind of assume that they know what's going on. And if you were a kid in that situation, you're Jonah's age, for example, and you're watching this and you're saying, I wouldn't react like that, right? So there's a little bit of a difference there for sure. Now, please don't take this as I'm hating on Ozark. Breaking Bad is one of the best shows on television. I think we can all agree on that. And Ozark is not quite there. So obviously there's going to be a discrepancy here. Now, and that doesn't mean that Ozark is a bad show. Not at all. Ozark is missing that dynamic relationship that Breaking Bad had, which is Jesse and Walter, right? There are no 2 characters or multiple characters in Ozark that are close to this. And there are no 2 characters in pretty much any show that compare to this. Even some of the best shows. So, not a really hit on Ozark here at all. But that Jesse and Walter relationship was something that was dynamic, and that was really, at the heart of Breaking Bad, the main story, right, of these 2 characters. And you could argue maybe Wendy and Marty kind of have that relationship, but it's a little bit different. It's not the same as Breaking Bad, and that, again, is why I don't think it will ever compare to Breaking Bad, because it doesn't have that same level of relationships between certain characters. And I'm not always in love with the Wendy and Marty relationship at all times. And so that's another thing that kind of plays on that as well. And this is one of the biggest points I've noticed about Ozark, especially watching that season 1 finale. This really kind of engraved this idea in my head. So Ozark is a very reactionary show, right? While Breaking Bad mostly had a lot of build up to big events, and that's why it always felt like a huge payoff, right, when a character was killed, or somebody died, right? Somebody died in the show and a character was affected by it, or a main character died in the show, right? And so Ozark, for example, with Dell's death in season 1 finale, that was a reactionary thing, right? All of a sudden, we did not expect it. It came out of nowhere. Boom, this event happened. Let's see how everyone reacts, right? While Breaking Bad was, okay, these characters are, slowly figuring out they gotta kill Gale, right? Jesse and Walter figured out they gotta kill Gale to keep Walter alive working for Gus. All that stuff builds up to it, and we get that crazy, chilling scene that Jesse guns down Gale in his apartment. And that seemed like a huge payoff. Again, Gus's death in Breaking Bad, of course, huge lead up. I mean, Walter even tries multiple times to kill Gus before that, right? And that's not just an instant thing. Now, did we expect Hector to blow up his his wheelchair there and kill Gus in the nursing home? Maybe you could have maybe seen it, but it was mostly a surprise thing too. But it still felt like a huge payoff, right? Ozark, we had no idea that Dell was going to die in that scene. And Dell's death is probably the biggest event so far in Ozark, through what I've seen, at least for season 1 and most of season 2. And again, just a very reactionary show. Things happen out of nowhere, just like that, and then we see how the characters react. While Breaking Bad, it was a lot of build-up, right? So we didn't really need to see those characters react to that as much as we do Ozark, where we don't really have any background. It just happens, right? And that's the thing with Ozark, too, though. That can be a positive, because shows like that are really entertaining to watch. When you never know exactly what's going to happen, it's really hard to predict the twists that they throw at you, right? Those are also entertaining shows. So that's a good thing for Ozark as well. Breaking Bad did have some of those moments. That's why I emphasize mostly, because they did have some surprise moments like that were just kind of out of nowhere. Of course, Hank finding out about Walter when he's taking he's in the washroom there on the toilet at Walter's house, and he finds the book. Of course, we had no idea that was going to happen, right? You know, maybe some of us may have predicted that Hank was going to find out soon, but not in that way, right? So, you know, there were some surprises again, but not for the most part in Breaking Bad for sure. Next, Ozark is very dark, while Breaking Bad was even light and comedic at times, right? But with dark situations. So that's, I think, a big difference between the two as well. Ozark is very dark. I mean, especially because they play on that small town kind of vibe with Ozark. Again, setting a huge part of this show, right? And Breaking Bad, it was even kind of funny at times, the way that they show Walter as a character, especially at the beginning, and him getting into this business. It was funny. Some parts were comedic and kind of light, and that's the thing with Breaking Bad that was so good, because they could take a scene like that, a light comedic scene, and then boom. I mean, it just totally changes the other way, and that also kind of mirrored what Walter's journey was too. I mean, he started as a light, average high school teacher, and ended up, the way he did. And so, and that also happened too. But Ozark, I don't really feel like it's light. I mean, Marty's character, Jason Bateman, he does a great job of kind of creating those little kind of giggle moments, like not really laughing out loud, but just kind of like little things that he does, even his mannerisms are just kind of funny, right? The little like one-liners, a couple lines he says. But the show itself is dark. I mean, there's a lot of dark stuff at play here. We have season 2, we have, buried bodies, just tons of stuff. I mean, really dark stuff. We had some waterboarding thing that happened with Ruth there. And yeah, so I just felt like Ozark is a very dark show compared to Breaking Bad. Breaking Bad had very dark scenes. I mean, Gus getting the box cutter on Victor, one of the darkest scenes of the show. But that's not the whole show, right? So that's, again, a big difference there. So overall, I just, that's pretty much all my points that I put together. But again, please leave a comment if you, are kind of with me on this, or you're not, you don't agree. And yeah, so overall, at the core of both shows, the story is very different. Even though, very different, even though many want to compare the two series, I don't think you can, right? And then, ask this question: why would people want to compare Ozark to Breaking Bad? If the stories are different, right? And let's just say all my points are true that I just made. Why would people want to compare the two then, right? If they're not that similar? Because Breaking Bad was so damn good, and people would love another Breaking Bad. That's just my explanation, in my opinion, I think. Because Breaking Bad's over, right? And we know that we're probably never going to get another Breaking Bad. So we're going to compare other shows to it. And I mean, at the root of it, I see why people do compare the two shows, right? And at first, I even did. I'm like, oh, well, are they trying to be like Breaking Bad? And you see in some points of Ozark, you see the kind of same direction ways that they take at this. They kind of... Breaking Bad did such a good job at times where they would kind of take a scene, right? And they do this amazingly in Better Call Saul too. Vince Gilligan and Peter Gould, of course, at the helm of both. And so they basically take a scene, right? And then they slowly broaden it out, and then you start to understand everything in that scene that they showed you way before, and it all kind of comes back. So both shows, really well, Breaking Bad did a really great job of that, and Ozark is starting to do that a little bit. They're starting to use kind of techniques that Breaking Bad did so well, and I really do believe that Ozark is trying to be Breaking Bad. I mean, that's definitely, I think that is the case. Will I think they succeed? Probably not. I don't think that Ozark's going to be as good as Breaking Bad, but maybe future seasons, I don't know. But anyways, that's why I think people compare them, because I think people want to see another Breaking Bad, but Ozark isn't quite it. But they're going to make that leap anyways. Right? So, and I don't think many people think that Ozark is equal to Breaking Bad. I just think that people are comparing the two when I don't think they should be compared. I think just because, it's based around a guy who's involved with the cartel. That's pretty much the end of similarities, in my opinion, of the two shows. And that's why I think they shouldn't be compared, because I think it even hurts Ozark. If they're constantly being compared to Breaking Bad, I mean, that's a huge standard for them to get to. And if they don't get to that, does that mean the show is bad? No, I don't think so. I mean, again, Breaking Bad is considered the best show on television for many people, or one of the best. So, in saying Ozark, oh, well, it's not a Breaking Bad standards. Wow, like, you didn't make a show that's the best on television of all time. Bad, you did a bad job. No, of course not, right? Like, it's still a really good show. Just because it doesn't compare to Breaking Bad doesn't mean it's a bad show. So, anyways, that is what it is. Again, I do love, I would say love, but I do enjoy both shows. I love Breaking Bad, of course, but I do enjoy both shows. So I'm not trying to hate on either one here. I'm just, kind of breaking it down and saying why Ozark and Breaking Bad should not be compared. That's all I'm saying. Anyways, leave your comments and questions for this discussion. And definitely, we'll go through that. I'd love to discuss any of this stuff with you guys. I really would. So anyways, everything's going well here on the live episode. So, yeah. So, anyways, that's it for Ozark and Breaking Bad. Ozark Season 2, I'm going to try to finish, hopefully this weekend, and then hopefully I might do a review for Season 2, or I might just do a review for the Season 2 finale. I'm not quite sure yet, but yeah, so I'll try to finish it this week, because it'll be, 2 weeks tomorrow since it came out, or is it 1 week? No, I think it's only 1 week. Yeah, it just came out on Friday. Yeah, so it's just been 1 week since Ozark has been out. And I will say, I think Season 2 is better than Season 1 so far. I haven't seen any episodes like Episode 8 of Season 1. Worst episode of the series. In my opinion, but anyways, yeah, no, I really like Season 2. I think it's good. Some people, I've seen some reviews out there saying the first half of Season 2 is a lot stronger than the second half. I would agree with that. At this point, though, I've only seen up to Episode 7, so not that I've seen the whole season, so maybe I can't even talk on that point, but I would kind of agree with that. I think the first maybe 4 episodes of Season 2 are really, really strong. They're really good episodes. And I think Episode 6 isn't the greatest. Episode 5, not bad, right? So yeah, maybe I would agree with those reviews. But anyways, check out Ozark if you haven't already. And of course, Breaking Bad. If you haven't seen it, I don't know what you're doing. Check out Breaking Bad, of course. It's on Netflix as well. But yeah, anyways. So now let's get to something I like and something I don't like from this week in television. So this is a segment I do every week, basically outlining, 2 news articles or 2 news pieces from this week in television and giving my thoughts on it, whether I like it, whether I don't like it, and reading a little bit of the article and kind of giving my thoughts. So that's what this segment's all about. So first, we have something I like from this week in television. Sharp Objects finale draws series high with 2.6 million viewers. So this was from Deadline Hollywood article. I will have it posted in the description when this video is up and published, so you guys can follow along. There's also a lot more in this article that I'm not going to cover. I'm not reading the whole article word for word here. So you can go check it out, or you can read along with me, check out the other stuff, be my guest, check it out. But anyways, it'll be in the description after this video is up and published. But yeah, so Sharp Objects, of course, really great series, right? Really great stuff. I'm still not caught up with, I think I have episodes 6, 7, and 8. So I have 3 episodes yet to watch of Sharp Objects. I really gotta, hopefully this weekend too, I gotta finish that. But anyway, so really great though. Through the first 6 episodes, first 5 episodes that I have seen, really, really great. I did a review for the premiere as well on the channel if you want to go check that out. But anyway, so great news to hear this about Sharp Objects finale on HBO. So, the Sunday night finale of HBO's high-profile new drama series Sharp Objects drew 1.8 million viewers at 9 p.m., so the live time, and 2.6 million viewers including replays and viewing on HBO Go and HBO Now, both numbers a series high. Total viewership for the night was up 40% from both last week and the season average. Sunday viewing on HBO's digital platforms increased 65% from last week and more than doubled its debut night. Sharp Objects is averaging a gross audience of 7 million viewers and will continue to grow. Like with all HBO series, the lion's share of viewing for Sharp Objects is expected to come from digital platforms. So, in that last sentence there, they're still saying that not all the views have been collected here. So there's still going to be a lot of people watching Sharp Objects on digital platforms like HBO Go, HBO Now, whether it might go to Netflix or Hulu, right? Or, well, I don't think it would go to Amazon, but if it goes to one of those, or HBO decides to market it some way else, then that would happen, right? Especially a limited series too. I mean, we saw this with The Sinner season 1. Now it's on Netflix this summer, and it's kind of blew up again, right? Well, meanwhile, me and a bunch of other people watched it live on USA last summer, and we're at, the big craze then, and now it's now on Netflix this year, and now it's kind of blown up again. So that exact thing could and probably will happen with Sharp Objects. They decide to go the Netflix route, or maybe it's going on HBO Go, and people start finding it and figuring it out again months down the road, and it becomes big. So for sure, these viewers is not it, right? There's definitely going to be more people checking it out. And my question is, and why I kind of picked this piece of news for this episode is, we're just talking about limited series and whether limited series are actually going to stay limited. This, I think, is a test. Now, I did review an article, I think 3 episodes ago on Let's Talk Television, of the creator of Sharp Objects saying, no, this is a story that is only going to be in 1 season. That is it, right? This is going to be a limited series. It's going to stay that way. So I did really like that, right? I like that the creator came out and said that. But after the news of all this success and all this viewership that they've received for this finale episode and the series as a whole, is she still thinking the same way? Is HBO still thinking the same way? So 2 questions that I feel like I know the answer to, but I'm not sure, right? I do feel like the creator is going to, stay true to what she said. I do think that it is going to stay a limited series, but it's something to think about, right? It's food for thought, right? Are they going to be, drawn in to make another season like The Sinner was? Or are they going to keep it a limited series? Say, you know what? We're going to have more success with the show. We know that, we haven't got all the viewers that we will quite yet. Let's see what happens, right? And keep this a limited series. So, anyways, really great job here for Sharp Objects. Well deserved. And honestly, if this was on, wasn't on HBO, they'd be getting probably a lot more viewers too, right? I mean, crazy stuff. But 2.6 million viewers for this finale, but that's including online stuff. So now, just trying to think, so it says is averaging a gross audience of 7 million viewers, for the 8 episode series, right? And so, that finale was, pretty substantial, 2.6 million. So anyways, just really great stuff here to hear that Sharp Objects, is doing well. And the finale, was really well received. So, it's honestly a great series. Amy Adams, one of the best television performances I've seen. Jessica Biel and hers, I would say, are in the same league. I really hope that Jessica Biel wins the Emmy in 2 weeks until the Emmys, so that's pretty exciting too. Anyway, so yeah, Sharp Objects, really great finale there, getting some stats there. And will it still, continue to be a limited series? We'll have to see. But I expect an announcement, if it's not in the next, 6 months probably, 4 to 6 months. HBO and the creator will probably come to a decision there. But as of now, it is a limited series, and it's staying that way. So, yeah. Anyways, so that is it for something I like. And then we have another something I like for this week in television. Now, this is something I like, but also, obviously I don't want Mr. Robot to end. But, anyway, so next up, something I like from this week in television. Mr. Robot to end with season 4 on USA Network. So this was from the Hollywood Reporter. I'll have this article again in the description of this video once it is up and published. So you can go onto the article. There's a lot more. They interviewed the creator, or is it the creator? Yeah, I think it is the creator of the show. I'm trying to think. Oh, Sam Esmail, I guess. Sam Esmail. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that right, but yeah. So they did an interview with him, and that's the bulk of this article. Of course, I'm not reading all of that. And so you can go on there and check out the rest of it. But anyways, here it is. The end of the road for USA Network's critical hit Mr. Robot is in sight, as the previously announced 4th season of the Sam Esmail created drama starring Rami Malek will be its last. The network-defining series will begin production in the winter in New York for a premiere in 2019, meaning the show will have been off the air for more than a year when the final season debuts, which is not a huge deal in terms if you think of like shows like Westworld. Westworld was gone for I think like a year and 7 or 8 months or something like that. But for a network show, that's a long time, more than a year between seasons. I mean, that's pretty substantial, right? So you have to think of it in a sense like that. You know, reading this article, oh, well, that's not a big deal, but for network television, that's a pretty big deal. Season 4, announced in December, was originally set to feature another cycle of 8 episodes, which would be its lowest order to date. But sources say that the order has now been expanded to 12 because it's the final season, right? So they have expanded the episodes to 12. So now in quotations, since day one, I've been building toward one conclusion. And in breaking the next season of Mr. Robot, I have decided that that conclusion is finally here. Therefore, season 4 will serve as the final chapter of the Mr. Robot story. To fans of the show, thank you for the past 3 years, and I can't wait to share this exciting final season with you. So that is a quote from Sam Esmail, talking about it with the Hollywood Reporter. And yeah, so really great to see. I mean, a lot of people praise Breaking Bad because they knew when to end it, right? They kind of, were able to, the fans loved it, really, really popular at the time. And they still decided to end it because they knew that the story was complete. And they were happy with the conclusion and the way that it wrapped up, which I still think that Breaking Bad series finale was the best finale that I've ever seen, or that's ever been made. But anyways, and yeah, so to see that Mr. Robot knows when to end, and knows that they have a conclusion in mind and they can reach that in this season, really great to see. Right, really great to see that Mr. Robot can, or that the show can recognize that, and the creator. So really great. Now, not great news for Mr. Robot fans, because obviously you're probably going to want more seasons, but I do feel like this one is going to be very satisfying, especially, like I said, because they know the conclusion, they know when they want to end, so I do think it's going to be a satisfying ending at that. And it's been really, it's like they say, it's a critical hit. It's been really great with the critics. Acclaimed series right on USA Network. It will be a loss for USA Network though, for sure. I mean, I'm surprised that, I'm sure that they kind of push them to kind of keep going, because this is a big one for USA Network. So a little bit surprised in that regard, but anyways, USA Network will take this 4th season, they'll definitely take it. I mean, I think it's going to be a big 4th season. So, anyways, and it's a pretty big show. I mean, relatively big, for, network television. If you would call USA Network television, then, it's a pretty big show for that. But anyways, a lot of people into it. It's kind of, hacking technology kind of stuff, Mr. Robot. So, I've actually never seen the show. Believe it or not, I wanted to get into it when season 3 was coming out this last year. I just never did. So, anyways, that is definitely on the back burner for me, though. I really would love checking out this show. So yeah, anyways, though, good news that this show knows where to end, and that the creator has that conclusion in mind. So some really great stuff there. Some really great news, from, coming out of Mr. Robot. So season 4 will be its last, and it will be coming in 2019. Now, I don't know when in 2019. I would guess maybe in the summertime, maybe in the fall even, because they're not even, no, we begin production in the winter, so they'll probably be, in November, December, I would think. So yeah, probably not till fall of 2019 will be that 4th season. So we have a little bit of time to wait for it then. But anyway, so that is something I like from this week in television. So anyways, let's move on to the next segment of the show, and that is my weekly notables. And so I'm going to be honest, Ozark was the only show that I watched this week. Crazy, I know, but honestly, so what happened was I was a lot of stuff. I was busy, but Ozark came out last Friday, and I was like, I gotta watch this. And then I got really interested in Ozark and started watching a lot of, 7 episodes, if you call that a lot. And I just kind of forgot about my other shows. And so, I didn't mean to do it, but anyway, so my notable episode, from this week in television is Ozark Season 2, Episode 1, titled Reparations. So I did my quick thoughts of it. I meant to do a review of it too, but I just never got around to it. I was really busy that whole weekend there, and I just never got around to it. But anyway, season 2, episode 1, it was a really great episode. I feel like it was still the strongest one of the second season of Ozark so far. Although episode 4, I believe, was a really strong one as well, especially the ending of it. So, anyways, if you tune into season 2, episode 1. You know what I'm talking about. It was a really good episode, set up things really, really well for season 2, and also answered those questions that were left at the end of season 1, right? Which is all you can ask of a season premiere. That's pretty much all you can ask. If they do those two things pretty well, anything else is a bonus, in my opinion. So, really great episode there from Ozark. And yeah, so notable performance from this week in television. I'm going to give it to Jason Butler Harner, who plays FBI agent Petty. So I didn't love his character in season 1, but in season 2, I mean, you kind of are supposed to hate the guy, but I do really admire Jason Butler Harner's kind of take on the character and the way he kind of goes at it, the way he approaches it. And so his performance is from Ozark season 2, episode 5, Game Day. And this is, a pretty good episode in terms of, but if you're a fan of Marty and you're rooting for him, it's not a good episode, all right? Because, Jason Butler Hartner's character, Petty, kind of gets the best of him in this episode and kind of, starts pursuing him a little bit more, right? And so, really, really great performance by Petty in this one, I think. And he's a really dynamic character. I mean, he has a lot of things about him. He's not just that, straight villain character who's the FBI agent trying to catch the bad guys. He is so much more than that, and they've done a really good job. They've been constantly focusing on his character, and so that we actually know his background. We understand where he's coming from with a lot of things that he does, right? And again, without this little background and without this, way that they kind of emphasize his character, again, he would just be a classic villain, that FBI agent that's just trying to catch the bad guys. But like I said, he's much more. So Jason Butler Harner is doing a really great job. And just like the way he looks too is just like a perfect look for this type of character. So really great job on the casting too for getting him for this role. But he's really great. So anyways, that is my weekly notables. Those are my weekly notables for this week in television. Again, only saw Ozark this week, so do apologize for that. No, I saw Better Call Saul too. I saw Better Call Saul, the episode 5 as well. So yeah. But anyways, I thought I'm on Ozark anyways. So I'd put those in there. But anyways, so Better Call Saul review should be out tomorrow or tonight, hopefully. So that that will be out as well on the channel. But anyways, so that is just about it. That's pretty much all I have here. We can check the live chat here and see what's going on. Okay. All right. What seems to be going on here? Just seems to be getting a little bit of lag, but I think everything seems to be fine on here on the stream health. Okay. Yep. Okay. Well, I think it's everything's kind of going well here with the stream, but it just seems like it's lagging a little bit. But anyways, so that'll just about do it for this episode of Let's Talk Television. I hope everything's going okay here. We're gonna roll with the punches and see. But anyway, so again, thank you so much for those of you who tune in live. I do really, really appreciate it, honestly. Thank you for those of you who tune in after as well. Still really appreciate it. So, anyways, guys, let me know what you think of this discussion. Ozark versus Breaking Bad. Should they be compared? Are they comparable? Right? Let me know what you guys think. And let me know what you think of Mr. Robot News and Sharp Objects. Let me know what you think of the Sharp Objects series and the finale as well. Let me know. We can discuss that, of course. And let me know what your notable episode and notable performance was from this week in television, or the ones that you saw. So anyways, guys, that'll just about do it for me. That's pretty much all I have here. It doesn't look like any comments or anything like that in this live chat thing. I'm still trying to figure out top chat, live chat. So anyways, YouTube's a little difficult sometimes, but anyways, so yeah, that'll just about do it for this episode of Let's Talk Television. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much for the recent support on this series, but also the channel. We're growing like crazy lately. 170 subscribers now, 75,000 video views. So just really crazy, numbers there. And I do really appreciate it. Lately we've been really growing. So hoping to put out more reviews, Better Call Saul reviews. I'm doing the whole season of that. And now the fall season is almost upon us. Some really great shows coming out in the next couple weeks, or next couple months, I should say. So I'm looking forward to those as well. But anyways, guys, that'll just about do it for Let's Talk Television episode 11. Again, thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next week with the last episode of season 2, and then I'll take a week break. I think it's a week break, or it might be like 6 days or something like that. Anyways, whatever it turns out to be, a week break, and then I'll be back with season 3. So anyways, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Thanks, guys.